to beautiful, historic downtown Abbeville. It's a quaint little town filled with hustle and bustle today, with historic architecture, beautiful buildings, unique shops and restaurants, and history. Along with that history is a lot of mystery. So welcome to Abbeville, South Carolina, the very first location for our History, Mystery, and Sweet Tea show. Hello, America, from South Carolina, Abbeville, South Carolina, historic Abbeville, South Carolina. This is our very first History, Mystery, and Sweet Tea episode. And I'm going to tell you, first of all, the history of Abbeville, South Carolina. Abbeville was settled in 1758, but if you count the Native Americans, it was many years before that. The Cherokee were here first. They were the indigenous people, and then they split up into two tribes. One was the Chickamauga tribe, but it was also Cherokee and the Cherokee tribe. So it was settled by the white man in 1758 by a group of French Huguenots. So if you're ever here in Abbeville, you could say hello, bonjour, aho, or hey y'all. So that's why we're here in Abbeville to tell you a little bit of the history. It wasn't until December the 20th in 1832 that the town was incorporated. Since then, Abbeville has experienced so much history, so much mystery. Did you know that Abbeville is known as the birthplace and the deathbed of the Confederacy? That's right, the birthplace, because just a couple of blocks away, less than a half a mile, is Secession Hill. And then Jefferson Davis, who was the president of the Confederacy, drew up the paper in the famous Burt Stark Mansion right down the road, less than a half a mile from here. Drew up the papers to end the Confederacy. He didn't like the word surrender. He just said to end the Confederacy. So it also has ties, Abbeville does, also has ties to the Revolutionary War as well. Andrew Pickens, if it weren't for him and the spring that provided water for all the settlers, there probably wouldn't be an Abbeville, because he shared that water with everybody. Now, there are so many historical places that there's no way I can cover them in an hour. We do hourglass tours probably twice or three times a month. Here, if you ever want to do a history tour, a mystery tour, or a ghost tour, we're doing that. We're also establishing a church tour, because there's been people asking to do that. So the history of Abbeville is very thick and the roots run deep. Now, when you're in Abbeville, be careful what you say, because the Confederate War, the Civil War, the war between the states, or the war of Northern aggression, it depends on who you're talking with, because they get very touchy about that, and rightly so. But that's a lot of the history of Abbeville, South Carolina. Now, we are coming to you live tonight with our very first History, Mystery, and Sweet Tea show, and we are coming to you from the historic Belmont Inn. Now, it was started being built in 1901, and it was finished in 1903, and then it was known as the Eureka Hotel, and now it's the Belmont Inn. So I have with me a guest today. His name is Jim Petty, and he's representing the Belmont, and he's going to come on here with us. Okay, Jim, you can come on over here with us. And Jim is going to share with us the mysteries of Abbeville, which most of them take place here in the historic Belmont Inn. Jim?
Thank you, Margie. Thanks so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
Margie's such a treasure to have in this community. She's a wealth of information. We always are excited to have her around. And she conducts her tours. Many of them start or end here at the Belmont. And again, we're just so happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
You mentioned about Did you like maybe talk a little bit about the mysteries here of the Belmont Inn?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the history of the Belmont
Okay.
first.
All right. As you mentioned, a group of businessmen here in Abbeville got together in the early 1900s because of the way that the town was growing, and decided they needed just a little bit nicer hotel. And a group of businessmen got together, 1901, like you mentioned, and put together a project called the Eureka Hotel. Uh, it was built and completed in about 1903. At that time, it was one of the nicest hotels in this area. You had the 96th district here hotel. It was a smaller wooden hotel in McCormick at the time. There was another smaller wooden hotel here in Abbeville, but this was like a show place. Brick, had 35 rooms, actually 2 bathrooms inside, a place for people to eat, a beautiful restaurant. Um, and it was really, really an asset here to the community. As time goes on, the inn begins to grow and develop in different ways. And then later on, in the middle of the 19th century, or middle of the 20th century, actually, got to decline a little bit. You know, it'd been around for 50 or so years, and it had seen its better days.
And the world changes.
And the world changes. That's right. Abbeville went from a bustling community, was railroad oriented with lots of different types of industries and shops. So maybe one that wasn't such that way then. Yeah. So the inn kind of went into a little bit disrepair. But in the middle of the 80s, an investment group came in, bought the inn, completely went through it, changed the way it looked, made it much nicer even than it was then, made it more modern. And it's primarily the way it is now. We have 25 rooms. Each room has its own bathroom even. We have a couple of restaurants here, and
Delicious.
yes. And pride ourselves.
The Belmont Inn is the epitome of Southern hospitality. That's why I just fell in love with it, and I spend as much time in Abbeville as I do in my hometown. So now I want to there's a lot. I've got a list of questions here, but you and I just always just talk like, you know, our regular conversations. But we hear the most things that go on in the historic town of Abbeville or right here in the Belmont Inn. This is a question from one of our viewers.
Right.
Could you elaborate, maybe tell us a few mysterious things that have happened here?
Sure. A lot in the past 4.5 years, and there is a lot of mysterious things happen here at the Belmont Inn. Would you like to hear like a little story about?
I'd like to hear one of your experiences.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Because of the fact that I'm here so much, I've had the opportunity to have experience in so many different parts of the inn, and there are there's not any negative energy here.
Nobody's gotten beaten up by an apparition or a ghost or anything. No harms come to anyone.
No, it's all positive energy.
Good.
All of the spirits that are here that inhabit the Belmont Inn are happy that we're here. They're happy that our guests are here. A few of the things a couple of things have happened to me. I was talking to a group of guests here at the bottom of the stairs here during one of the conventions, as a matter of fact, that you spoke at one night. And
with the Paranormal Society of Savannah when they were here.
That's right. And there was a ball going on at the time. It's a beautiful thing, a costume ball. One of the participants of the ball just asked me if I'd ever heard of a spirit here named Lydia. And my wife and I looked at each other, and we never heard of that. And anyway, I bid adieu to the group of folks and started up back the steps, and something tapped me on the back of the leg 3 times. It actually slapped me on the back of the leg 3 times, enough to where my wife heard it and the guests heard it too. I stepped around.
Oh, wow.
And I looked, and one of the guests said, That was Olivia.
Oh,
Lydia, that was
Lydia,
Olivia. Yeah. Um, we've had often glasses in our restaurant, JP's,
Yes.
come off of the wine racks and fall on the floor. We have a spirit who inhabits the kitchen, Miss Maybell. You know about her.
Once Miss Maybell's kitchen, always Miss
That's
Maybell's
right.
kitchen. That's what I hear.
That's right. Miss Maybell will often move knives, the chef knives around. She'll hide the chef knife
Wow.
just to try to get on their side. And we also have a big aluminum scoop that we use for the ice machine.
Right.
And it'll often comes flying across the room, never hits anybody.
And you've seen that, right?
I've seen it
Yeah.
several times. All of these things that we talk about here, I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
I've never personally seen an apparition. I see the things that result from their presence.
Right.
Um, we have one particular room here that seems to be a little bit more active than others. And just last week, we had a function here, and some of my guests and I were standing down in the alley. We looked up at the window in that room, and the lights were flickering.
Oh, wow.
And there wasn't anybody in the room.
Well, let's talk about Abraham.
Yeah.
Because he seems to be, there's like 3 or 4 infamous ghosts here, the most famous ghosts that are here. Talk to me about Abraham.
The story about Abraham is that he was a member of the crew that worked here.
And he helped build it, right?
Right, when he built it.
Yeah.
And when the inn was finished, the story is that Abraham stayed on and became a fixture here. And stayed here, I guess, for the remainder of his life and his working life. And he's still here today.
Wow.
And
now he was the bellman who was
Right.
over the bellhops.
That's right.
So he was the boss man.
Right, he was the boss man.
And I know I was staying here. I've stayed almost in every room, but he came to one of the rooms and I heard the doorknob and I was like, oh, who's that? I just got in the bed and I got up and there was no one there up or down the hall. And so I know I've had that experience here as well. And so tell me how you and Susan, y'all are the owners now, right?
Right.
And you and your wife. So y'all are like the 6th owners of the hotel?
That's what I understand.
6th or 7th
Yes,
owners?
ma'am.
So this hotel hasn't been owned by very many people, but you are the first owners to welcome, I guess, the mysteries that surround the Belmont.
Yeah, that's well put.
Yeah.
Previous owners have not embraced the fact that there are spirits here and mysteries here.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, Susan and I did. One of the really cool things that happened during one of the paranormal conventions is that there was a group of folks that came through, and they split into different groups of people as they come through the tour.
Right.
And one of the leaders of one of the groups came through, and I was in the kitchen late at night, and the leader came through and said, "So you're Jim?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And she said, "Well, one of the spirits told us just a few minutes ago that we were about to meet you and that they really like you."
Well, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially
and
if you can't
yes,
see them.
And she said that the spirits were happy to be here because Susan and I welcomed them here.
That's awesome.
We acknowledge the fact that they're here and we welcome the fact that they're here.
That's great.
Yeah.
We want to talk about also not just the mysteries of the Belmont, but since we're here, what can the Belmont offer as far as lodging, award-winning Sunday brunch that I know about, food, beverages, the atmosphere of nostalgia, venue? Just please elaborate. This is your time to tell everybody about the Belmont.
Okay. I tell people, Marjorie, that if you're looking for a franchise type place to stay, the cookie cutter type place, this is not it.
Yeah.
What we have here is a very unique opportunity to stay and experience something from the mid 1920s. If you look around, you stayed here, you've been here so many times. We're so happy always to have you here. People tell us that this is like staying in their grandma's house.
Right.
You look at our guest book time after time. This is like staying in our grandma's house. This is like being in my great aunt's house. My wife will see people that stayed here 3 years ago and she'll know them by name. She'll remember what room they stayed in.
And you have residual guests who keep coming back
We
because
do.
they do feel so cozy and welcome. And again, the Belmont is the epitome of Southern hospitality.
Thank you. We really
And
appreciate that.
you don't have to have a card to get into your room. You have real keys.
That's right. We
For
have,
the younger generation, we used to have keys to get in and to the hotel rooms. Now, if somebody comes up and says to you or to Susan or anybody, anywhere, if they come up to you and say, well, I know that the most haunted room is room 13. Tell me why that can never be true.
well, because there's not a room 13 here at the Belmont Inn.
Bingo. And why is there not a room 13?
Well, historically, and in the industry itself, there's no rooms 13 because people are afraid of the number 13. The number 13 brings bad luck.
So it's superstitious.
It's superstitious.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell me about your restaurants.
Okay.
And tell our viewers about your restaurants. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna jump ahead of them. The blackened salmon is the best I've had in the state, and I'm not just saying that because I'm here. The salmon is phenomenal, phenomenal. And my husband loves the steak. And what's the name of the steak? Ribeye steaks.
Ribeye, right.
And it's just cooked perfect for him. The spud boats and the salmon are my two favorite things. So I had to give that a little plug, you know.
Thanks, Margie.
Big girl got maintained. So it's good, but salmon is healthy. Salmon is very healthy. And Jim said, you should try the salmon. And I've always eaten salmon stew growing up in the South, right? But I had never tried blackened salmon. Jim said, try it. And I tried it, and that's all I get when I come here, other than the spud boats.
Yeah. Well, we have a restaurant here that's called JP's. My name's Jim Petty. My son-in-law, when we were building it, we were trying to think of a name for it. He said, why don't you call it JP's? And the name stuck.
Well, it's JP's Food and Spirits.
Right.
Now, spirits can have a dual definition.
All right.
Whether it is spirits or if it's
Spirits. That's right.
So, but anyway, they have delicious food. Now, on Sunday, you are a 2-time award-winning brunch.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
We're so proud of this. We have something we call the Simple Southern Sunday Lunch Buffet. And we started it very soon after we opened. And like Margie just mentioned, we won the best place to have Sunday brunch 2 out of the last 3 years by the readers of the Index Journal, a big newspaper here in
Which is
Greenway.
the Lakelands. That is the Gleens area. That's Greenwood, Lawrence, Edgefield, Abbeville, McCormick, Newberry, and Saluda. They won #1 2 years ago and #1 this year.
And it's just like that. It's a simple Southern Sunday lunch. We have a fried chicken breast fillet that we spent 4 years putting together, and it's the #1 selling thing. And then we'll have something like meatloaf or pork loin or chicken pot pie or some other type of protein like that. We make our own macaroni and cheese, squash casserole, green bean casserole, vegetable casserole, collard greens, all that
Sweet potato soup.
Yeah, sweet potato souffle.
Blueberry cheesecake.
Yes.
Strawberry
Yes.
cheesecake. I'm sorry. I'm mentioning
Yes.
everything that is so good that's bad for a diabetic, and I'm diabetic.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, it's all good.
And of course we have Marianne's sweet tea.
Yeah. And that's in the running for our sweet tea. It's between the Belmont Inn and Wing 101 and the Brickyard as to who's got sweet tea. So yeah. Now tell me as far as lodging that you offer.
Okay. We have a variety of different rooms here. We have 25 rooms. They range from something we call a premium king. Jimmy Carter stayed in that room. It's a very large king room. It had some conventional furniture in it that was my mother's. We put in there. There's a big balcony that overlooks the alley and square.
Yeah, that's my favorite room.
Yeah,
26.
Room 26.
Always 26. It has a balcony.
It's a beautiful room, it's the end of the hallway.
And it's also known as the honeymoon suite.
It is, yes. Yeah, it's the suite that most people to book when they're looking for something that's, you know, an important thing for them. We have king rooms, we have queen rooms, we have rooms with double queens, we have rooms with double full beds. We even have 2 rooms that have 2 single beds in it. So if you've got a couple of guys who just want to stay, or a couple of ladies that just want to stay, or a really good room to put your kids in a separate room.
Yeah. And if you're working in any nearby towns like Greenwood, Calhoun Falls, even even Lincoln, Georgia, Due West, anywhere, McCormick.
Yeah.
If you're going to be here for a week working, what better place to stay? It's not a cookie cutter, and it's the same price.
We have continental breakfast. So it's free.
Yep, free continental breakfast.
It's served from 7 to 10, Monday through Sunday.
Now, when do you serve lunch here?
Lunch, we only serve on Sunday.
Lunch only on Sunday.
Right.
And then in the evening, when do you serve food?
We are open Wednesday night. Tonight's our first night of the week that we're open. We have what's called a handheld night. All of our sandwiches and appetizers are on special on Wednesday nights, as well as this kicks off our special cocktails. This week it's a peach margarita.
Okay.
Is what our special cocktail is for the
Did you hear that, Sharon Jacobs? Peach margarita for you.
And then we'll begin our regular menu tomorrow night. We have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We open at 5 o'clock. We close at 9. And this weekend we'll have feature some pasta specials.
Oh, good.
We got a rigatoni pasta special we began cooking the sauce today. The Sunday gravy, like on the Italian shows, we'll be cooking it with Italian sausage, meatballs,
and marinating
all day today and all day tomorrow.
Let me make sure I'm not drooling.
Yeah. As well as a chicken marsala fettuccine, which is a little bit different take on that, but it's we're excited about that.
I've never been disappointed when we eat here. Now normally you don't have to make reservations, but when there is an event at the Opera House next door, you do recommend reservations.
Yes.
You told me, right?
Yeah. This weekend there's an event at the Opera House that sells out every year. It's Saturday night, and if you're thinking about coming here this weekend, you need to give us a call and make those reservations now, because we're filling up fast in the restaurant.
And the phone number here is 864-459-9625.
She knows about it.
And when you call it, you tell them you want to make reservations either for a room or for dinner. So go ahead and make your reservations, because this weekend is going to be packed. The salmon, the steak, the special pastas. Their salads are awesome as well. Oh my goodness, they have fresh salads. It's not all the lamp lettuce. It's not all the hard white lettuce like a lot of places. And the salad dressings are scrumptious. As everything's good. Everything's good. I haven't eaten anything that I don't like. Now, I don't eat shrimp and a lot of seafood, but when they do shrimp and grits or stuff like that, seafood is delicious. They can cater. Talk about catering.
Yep.
In-house or elsewhere.
Yes, most of our catering is done in-house. We have 3 different venues here in the inn, depending on the type of event that you might have and how many you might be having. We seem to be the class reunion capital of this area. Yeah. Because so many people who live in this area have experienced, this place has been there all their life. They may have come to the prom here, they may have, their mom and dad might have got married here. But we can do anything from weddings, wedding rehearsals, receptions, class reunions, all that any type of event like that you're looking for. Anywhere from 30 people in the room that we're in now, up to 250 people we can handle.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, we had an event, I think it was back in May. and we had 80 people up there seated, and it didn't go over the limit, and that food was delicious. It was just phenomenal. And it's arranged so that you can get in, do your event, and get out, so
Sure.
because everybody's so busy these
That's right.
days. Now, what makes the Belmont Inn different from any other hotel that you know of?
I got to tell you, it's our commitment to Southern hospitality. That is it.
I would agree.
Every member of this staff, housekeeping, our front desk ambassadors, anyone that you run into here in this inn is committed to making sure that our customers have a great Southern experience, that they will leave here with a wonderful memory of some place that they've been and they can't wait to come back.
Yeah, and the customer is number one. If they're working at that front desk and the phone's ringing, they have a voicemail, because they're not going to stop taking care of a customer
That's right.
to answer the phone.
That's right.
So I love that about this place. Let's see, another question. I've noticed when I Google, because I've been doing some research for this show, and since this is my very first show, I wanted to thank you and Susan
Yeah.
for being so hospitable to me with my books and different groups that come in. And it's, we help each other with promotions and all that. And plus, it's the best place I could think of, and one of the best places that I love, and I want to tell everybody else about it. Now, as far as the mystery part, I have noticed when I do research that the Belmont Inn is listed. It's always in the top 10 most haunted hotels in South Carolina. Do you agree with that?
I would. Yes. And, at different times, like you said, depending on where you look, we could be number 1, 2, 3, 8, but we're always listed in the top 10. And the greatest thing about this place is that it's all positive energy. People come from all over the country. People come from all over the country to stay here.
At the last event we had somebody from Iowa, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Did I say Georgia already? Florida and Alabama. I mean, they come from all over to come here. And when people come in to check in, you don't just say, "Welcome to the haunted Belmont."
No, we don't.
Because some people don't like that.
That's right.
So, but if they ask, "Is this place haunted?" How do you respond?
We usually ask them, "Why do you ask?"
Yeah.
And then that will give us an idea of what their interest levels are. And, they may not want to be here if they feel like it's haunted. And it really gets us to strike up a conversation and find out where they are, what their interest levels are. If they have some concern, we'll assure them that there's never been anybody hurt here. There's never been anybody frightened here. It's all positive. And it's a unique experience that they need to take advantage of.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, everybody doesn't come looking for ghosts, and everybody doesn't like the spirit realm, so this is just a mystery part of the history, mystery, and sweet tea. But there is another story that I would like for you to share, and it's of when Susan had a gentleman come in and he couldn't see anything or feel anything, but one of his children wouldn't stay.
That's right.
Because of it.
My wife, when she was here full time, worked the desk, and she just about saw everybody that came in. She was here later in the evening one time, and there's a man came in with 2 children. And so he came in, checked in, and went upstairs. And within 15 minutes, he was back down with his children. And they happened to be in the room that we feel like is the most active. I call it active.
What number was that?
12.
12. Okay.
It's the most active room. And he said that when we got checked into the room, that he didn't feel anything. Everything was fine, but his children immediately sensed that there was something there that they'd never felt before. And they got upset. He said, "Oh, don't worry about it, da, da, da." And they stayed another couple of minutes, and the children got more and more agitated and begged their dad to leave. And so they came down, they had to check out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything that, other than the fact that the children felt it, and they'd never felt anything like that before. And if you've never felt it, and I know because you're a pro, but when you feel that for the first time,
it will spook you.
It's a little, it
It's
is
a little
interesting.
unnerving.
We have downstairs in our basement is incredibly active too.
Yeah.
You know, you've been there, and the first time I came through there, and there's a specific area in there, and you go by that area and boom, it hits you. If you're receptive, it doesn't hit everybody, but if you're receptive, then you know that there's something there that you've never felt before.
Yeah, and had you had experiences before you
No,
had this hotel?
no.
Not at all. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
Really, the fact that we are just dedicated to Southern hospitality here. But everything that we do here has to do as making the guests make sure that they feel like this is a place they've never been before and they want to come back.
Yeah. Well, we have you have had people come in doing genealogical
Mhm.
research, and they have found that some of their relatives helped build this place, or maybe once owned the place. One lady came in and she was related to on Trinity Street, the Pink Church. If you've never seen the Pink Church, come to Abbeville, South Carolina, because Trinity Episcopal Church is a pink church, and they've got a drive going on now, and that's part of the history of Abbeville, and they're trying to save that church. And so there's supposedly a spirit there in the courtyard that somebody shared with me, that it was a lady that was weeping. She had lost her husband in the war, then she lost her 4-year-old daughter. And the daughter's name was Elizabeth. There's the picture. Don't I have the best producer in the world? Her name is Gwen Johns. That is the Episcopal Church in Abbeville. And then there's a story, this is a mystery to me. If you can pull the picture, Gwen, from the Abbeville Opera House. Isn't that a beautiful church? The Abbeville Opera House, there used to be traveling troops of actors that would come down from either New York or Virginia, and they would travel to Atlanta. Well, guess what is about halfway between both of those places, depending on the route, and Atlanta? Abbeville. That's right. So they would stop here, and this was a railroad town and a very political town. They would come here for political conferences and campaigns. They would come here for work. JP's, where his restaurant is, yeah, there's the Opera House. Used to be Tinker's Alley, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Opera House had a traveling troupe of actors. That's the Belmont. This is where we are. If you look, yeah, that's the old.
That's the old Belmont.
Yep, yep, that's the old Belmont. And when it was first built, but an actress couldn't go on stage because she got sick, so her understudy went on. And when her understudy went on, she stood up on the third balcony floor and gave them a standing ovation. She was sick, but she gave them a standing ovation. Came back to the Belmont where she died. Now, the mystery to that is, if she died here at the Belmont, why does she reside or haunt the Abbeville Opera House? So that's the mystery. But with acting being her passion, maybe that's why. And a lot of people said, well, how in the world did she get up to the third balcony with stairs if she was sick? Well, they got an elevator in there, and it used to be the pulley system.
Yeah.
So, and the back wall of the Abbeville Opera House as well was once the tallest freestanding wall in the state, being that it's only brick and mortar. There's no rebar in it or anything like that. But a gentleman fell to his death while building that back wall. And he is said to be a poltergeist in there. He'll flick lights on and off and move curtains and move props. If you've ever been in a play or in a production and you've got your prop table and you go to reach for it and it's not there, then he's a little trickster. And so that's some stories. There's still one more story about the Abbeville Opera House, but we'll let you Google that. Or do you want to tell them about the apparitions of Abbeville and how that has helped bring people here?
Well,
I just don't want to toot my own horn.
no, no. Well, I was about to say I would rather you do it because you're so familiar with it because you wrote
Well,
the book, and if you have the opportunity to go on Amazon and pick that up, that's good. And we also sell it here at the front
if
desk.
you're local, they sell it
Yeah.
here. It's called The Apparitions of Abbeville. And it's the history and mystery of the South Carolina Lakelands. It's the second book in a series of 8 books. I'm working on the third one now. But it's history and mystery. It's not the blood, gut, and gore like the horror stuff, okay? It's history and mystery like we're talking about tonight. But Jim and Susan actually looked me up and called me one day and she said, I've got a lady here from Florida and another lady here from Maryland. They want to meet you. And so I said, okay. So I came over and they were doing a podcast and doing a paranormal investigation and all that. And they got some evidence. And so the book plus Susan and Jim being open to telling these mysterious stories has helped both of them with people coming in from different states and all over the United States. And I think we had somebody from Denmark here too as well.
Yes.
So other countries. So we're international as well. But yeah, you can pick those up on Amazon. The Ghost Stories of Uptown Greenwood. We have a ghost walk October the 12th. And there's 4 departure times, and that is a walking tour. It's only 2 blocks, but you'll have between 11 and 15 actors and actresses dressed up to tell the story. Nobody's going to jump scare you or come after you like with a chainsaw, but it is kind of spooky, especially Rebecca Cotton. That's the one to look out for from Edgefield.
Chapter 3 in the apparitions is all about the Belmont Inn.
It's page 32, I think. I think it's page 32.
But we do have a whole, she does have a whole.
Yeah, it's
chapter
page
in the book.
32. Unseen guests at the Belmont. And Miss Maybell's in there, Abraham's in there, the actress is in there. But we also have probably 5 other stories that we haven't even talked about at the Belmont. So, and then the new ones that people are telling you that they have experiences here as well. And yeah, so the history of Abbeville, it has history from Revolutionary War, Civil War, all the wars up until present day. And there's so many. I mean, the lynching of Anthony Crawford, if you've never heard that, when I was writing the book, The Apparitions of Abbeville, I got 3 phone calls that said, you really don't need to put that in there because it was a racially motivated, terrible, terrible crime. But I felt that was part of history. And a lot of people have called and thanked me for including that. Matter of fact, his great-granddaughter, Anthony Crawford's great-granddaughter, just took my tour 2 weekends ago here in Abbeville. And we're going to set up a date and just talk. And
got the Major St. Lo here too. You know, Major Thomas Howie. Major St. Lo, France in World War II.
And then General McGowan.
Right.
Abbeville is famous for so much. And then they have the Painted Lady, which is one of the last 100 or less steamboat houses in the United States. And it's called the Painted Lady. And the reason it's called a steamboat house is because it has stairs on both sides on the outside. And that's how you get to the 2nd floor. That is actually the house that Julia Roberts stayed in when she filmed Sleeping with the Enemy. It's not the house it was filmed in, but she was dating Keanu Reeves at the time. She didn't stay here at the Belmont. She stayed at that house on the 2nd floor. She and not Keanu Reeves,
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland, not Keanu Reeves. X that out. Kiefer Sutherland and Julia Roberts stayed in the Painted Lady. Now, the house that it was, some of the scenes were filmed in, and the house where she killed him, fictionally killed him, is on Magazine Street. So, and I know 3 famous people who reside in Abbeville that people don't know that they reside here. One is the mother of a famous actress. and two of them have houses that are famous, an actress and an actor. So, yeah, Abbeville's just full of Southern charm. It is full of Southern hospitality. It is full of history. It is full of mystery. Secession Hill, when a lot of the Confederate monuments are coming down and being torn down, they're going up on Secession Hill because Abbeville is such a historical place for America and what happened in the Confederacy. So, if you've never been to Abbeville, or if you haven't been to Abbeville in a long time, some things have changed, some things have stayed the same. There is another mystery, two mysteries. On the front cover of the Apparitions of Abbeville, you have the Wandering Widow. She is seen coming in through the back door of the Belmont, and she dissipates before she gets to JP's restaurant. And there's another one, there's this huge stallion that is so black he looks blue. So some people calls him Raven because that's what his coat looks like. And he trots around the square and nobody knows who he belongs to. We haven't even touched on the subject of the tunnels here in Abbeville. And the only one that's still open that people can go in is at the Brickyard Tavern. And the owner there's name is Chris. Tell him you saw my show. He'll let you go in and look at the tunnels. They have rails in it, little rail cart. And there's so many different people saying so many different things about the tunnels. But we have the tunnels. We have the water feature that's actually a watering trough for horses, cows, domesticated animals. And the top was just to keep, the little fountain part was just to keep the water moving because stagnant water does not. Yes, that's the Brickyard Tavern and Chris. They open at 2 o'clock every day, and they have all kinds of sandwiches. They have the craft beer.
Craft beer.
I'm not a drinker, so I don't know what that means. But that is a picture of the
Pizza.
tunnel. Yeah, they have flatbread pizzas. Yeah, that's really good. That is in the tunnel with one of the group of paranormal investigators, and he will let you come in there. All he asks is that you patronize him and give him business, and he'll say, yeah, come on down. Sometimes people don't even eat there, and he says, yeah, you can come on down and see the tunnels. But that is the tunnels.
Where did they go? What were
all over Abbeville. Now, some people say, and this is what I always say on my tours, this is what some people claim. It was to store ammunition. It was to transport ammunition. It was to hide from the Indians / Native Americans / savages, which they were not. They were just protecting their land. They were also, some people say it was to hide from the enemy when they would approach. Some people said it was like storms, protect you from bad storms that came through. But the real reason and the most general consensus I have found through research is that when the train came through and unloaded everything, it would be sent through the tunnel to where the brickyard is. Once they paid their taxes, tariffs, or whatever they had to pay back then they would get to take it out of there.
It was like a warehouse, maybe, or I mean,
a middleman.
Right, middleman. Okay.
Yeah, kind of like a middleman. So, and if anybody out there says no, that's not it, give me your story because I've heard all kinds of stories about those tunnels. But yeah, I've been in 2 of the historic houses, and I've seen where the tunnels were sealed up, and not just in the root cellar, but in the sub basement as well. And so we haven't talked about that. And Abbeville has had 6 courthouses. Now I'm going to let you guys Google why this is the 6th courthouse that Abbeville has had. It's a neat story, but this is the 6th courthouse. It was built in 1908, as was the Opera House, and they opened the same year. So 1908 is when they opened. And then you have the Rough House, world famous hot dogs. Now I'm gonna have to tell you this too. I like their hot dogs, but my favorite
Here we go.
is their Q dog.
Yeah.
They take a hot dog bun and they put onions on it and mustard, and then they put pulled pork barbecue on there. And that will make you slap your mama. Don't slap your mama. I'm just saying that's an old Southern saying. But I love it there. They also have Coca-Cola in bottles. And you walk in and you feel like you're walking into a scene of Bonanza or Gunsmoke. They still have the big mirror. They still have the big bar looking thing. They still have the bar and the wooden stools. And they also have an ice cream shop there for the kiddos. And the ice cream is delicious. And but yeah, and then on the counter, guess what they have sitting on the counter? An RC cola and a moon pie. So that's the Rough House. They've been in business since 1930.
Yeah, it's in the 30s. I ate those
32 or 39, 1930s.
I ate there just about every Friday.
Yeah.
At 2 o'clock, I walk down there. It's it's 1 block from here.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like
everything's 1 block from here.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything is 1 block from the Belmont.
And it's like stepping back in time. Like
yeah. And then on Washington Street, you have Once Upon a Time, THYME, and that is a little collectible and antique and nostalgic shop that I have to limit myself to going to because I've collected so many cute things from there. I need to sell it and start all over. But Jan and her crew there are just wonderful. There's also little where there used to be stores, there's little alleyways where you can get your lunch wherever you want to get your lunch around here and take it and have a picnic with your family or your, maybe you girls with your beaux or your loved ones or your significant others. You can go there and eat. And they've got a new Thai restaurant. Maria's restaurant has a ghost story in the book. Maria's Mexican restaurant is delicious. Two Brews, they have a story, but they didn't open until after the book was written. But the owner there, Matthew, has shared some stories with me, and he's one of the city council members here.
It's a half a block from here.
Yeah, it's like right across the street. And then there's Wings 101.
Right.
Oh my goodness, their wings are so good. And they have karaoke on Friday and Saturday, I think. But yeah, Wings 101 is delicious. Pink on Pinkney is a ladies' unique dress shop. It is classy. It's nice. You got Deason's Florist, who's been here forever and ever and ever. And then you have the Press and Banner. It used to be the Press, and then another one used to be the Banner, and they joined, and now it's the Press and Banner. And it's been here so long, and this is not, please don't take this as a sacrilegious, because I love Jesus, but I'm telling you, it's I think the first paper boys were the disciples. It's been there so long. And it's, so if you want to know what's going on in Abbeville, subscribe to that newspaper. You can still hold it. It's tangible and it's news, and it comes out every Wednesday. And I think it's like $19 a month to subscribe to the Abbeville Press and Banner. It's wonderful. And Abbeville also historically has a winning football team.
Oh, that's right.
And WZLA covers Abbeville football games. They cover 96 football games. They cover Greenwood football games, and they cover Atlanta Braves baseball. So that's their local radio station. Shout out to Benji and Lacey. 92.9 FM. And you can watch it. You can stream it as well. So we're just promoting the heck out of Abbeville. You can get, there's a sports shop here. There's commercial printing that you can get anything from trophies to awards to all kinds of things. And there's some new shops. The Country Cowboy just opened up. They have leather Bible covers that are so nice. If you need a saddle, if you need boots, if you need a lasso, if you need anything, cowboy, cowgirl, country, western, go there. And Indigenous Underground is a new, well, I say new, it's been there a couple years now. They have like alligator bites and stuff like that. And what's the owner's name? Erica?
Chef Erica.
Chef Erica.
Erica McGreers was the chef ambassador of South Carolina a couple of years ago. She's
And she's been in what, Southern Living or
she's
all those
very
magazines and all.
talented. You know,
So,
there's
and
so many things that you could do in this town. You know,
yeah,
Andrew next door, one of my friends, has a unique shop that features all sorts of things for your home, different types of things to cook with, of a wide variety of different type of grits,
oh, they have
jellies,
preserves too over there.
preserves, just
Yeah.
all sorts of things that just take some time and make this day trip over here, or make a couple of hours, or a day, or a couple of days. But come and visit Abbeville. Um, it's a it's a wonderful place uh, to just immerse yourself in some history and
And
so
slow down and
slow
breathe.
down.
Yeah. And they've got a place called Divine Your Space. They can make the
Yeah,
inside or outside of your house look like a magazine.
and
And
have a wine slushy while you're at it.
yeah,
While you figure
yeah.
it
And
out.
then they've got Refuel
Yeah,
that just opened up. It was an old gas station and they turned it into a small cafe.
wonderful place.
Historic churches, historic architecture. Robert Mills, who designed the Washington Monument, once lived here in Abbeville. And a lot of his architecture is here. So if you like architecture or you're an architecture student or just like it, this is the place to come. And the Key Wardlaw House is known to be the oldest house here. I'll let you look that up. Now, Key is spelled in the French way. It's Quay, because I was saying Quay Wardlaw House. And somebody laughed at me on my tour and they said, it's the Key Wardlaw House. I said, well, it says Quay. They said, no, that is French. So it is the Key Wardlaw House. I said, okay. And it used to be a tavern there as well. And we have fun. You know, we want to tell you about Abbeville, not only about the history and mystery, but everything they offer. If you just want to get out of Greenwood for a day, if you want to get out of 96 for a day, if you want to get out of Lincolnton for a day, if you're in Savannah Lakes and you just want a day trip, and the Abbeville Opera House, oh my goodness. They have tribute bands, they have comedy sketches, they have plays, they have dramas, they have comedy. It's just, I love Abbeville. And there's, let's say, Big Bob. We hadn't talked about Big Bob. We hadn't talked about the monument out there
That's
that
right.
when the Christmas tree caught on fire and the firemen put it out and the whole thing cracked. So there's just so much. And if you want to know the rest, that I'm really not here to plug my book again, but it's got more information in the book. It's The Apparitions of Abbeville. You can get it on Amazon. It's only $11.99. If you want to take a tour of Abbeville and hear the history of it, that's fine. If you want to hear the history and mystery of it, we have those tours as well. And we are developing a church tour as well because there's so many beautiful churches, so many beautiful churches. Matter of fact, there's one down the street that said when the big earthquake came in the early 1900s in Charleston, that they were having church and they could feel the church shake all the way up here.
Wow.
So that's another story for you.
Yeah.
And Mary Stark Davis, Miss Hutchinson. There's just so much, just so much history. There's so much mystery, and we are now to the sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
So the top three were Wings 101, and in second place was the Brickyard Tavern. And guess who the winner is? The Belmont Inn.
Mary Ann Sweet Tea.
Mary Ann
Yeah.
Sweet Tea. I had nothing to do with that. I did not vote, and
Ah,
I'm actually
great.
diabetic. I'm drinking unsweet.
It's great. Mary Ann works here.
Mary Ann is, yeah,
Mary Ann
the
works here. She's one of
coordinator
our
here.
service. She handles it. She's been with us a long time. Young girl, but she's been with us a long time. And she came up with this recipe. Our original recipe was from my wife, and Mary Ann decided she wanted to change around, got Susan's approval, and we feature that now too.
Yeah.
That's great. So it's award winning now. We got
It's
another
an
award-winning
award-winning sweet tea.
Yes.
Right here in the South. Is there anything else you would like to add? Any history, any mystery? We do want to say that Jim and Susan have owned it in March was 4 years.
Yeah, 4.5 years this past March. Well, 4.5 years now. We bought it in March of 2020, right before COVID hit. And
And you just turned 70.
I just turned
You look
70.
great, but he wants to retire. So the Belmont Inn is not closing, but it is available for investors and it is for sale.
It is.
And they will always be a part of it. But yeah, so if you know anybody that wants a historic and reputedly haunted hotel, with Southern charm and Southern hospitality, then this is the place. And if you want to make a reservation, I'm going to give you the phone number again, 864-459-9625. And you can make a reservation for dinner, or you can make a reservation for a room, but you can't get room 13. Sorry.
Can't get room 13.
Always ask for room 26 with the balcony. If it's not taken, I recommend that one. I've stayed in 18, 19, 17, 10, 26. Yeah, so I've stayed in a lot of the rooms.
And if you're planning a wedding or another type of special event, I guarantee you that there'll be no better memory than your bride walking down the grand staircase that we have here into the main lobby and out into the veranda for their wedding. People just love it, and we can handle anything with any kind of budget. And it's a great thing to have your wedding party be able to come here, stay in the hotel, have your wedding here, your reception, your rehearsal dinner, and to be able to experience all the things that are, like you said, that everything's within one block.
Yeah, and also, if you're here for Sunday brunch, you can eat on the veranda, which is outside, a lovely place, and you can see the whole square from there. And or you can eat inside. Either way, it depends on the weather and depends on what you want. But we're going to wrap up this history, mystery, and sweet tea show. And thank you, Jim, for agreeing to let us use your facility and to share the mysteries of Abbeville with us, because most of them are here in the Belmont. And just want to say, America, goodbye from Abbeville, South Carolina. And next week, we're going to be in Edgefield, South Carolina. So Edgefield, South Carolina, we'll be there next Wednesday. Thank you all for everything. Thank you, Jim. Tell Susan thank you.
We'll do it.
And thank you for watching History, Mystery, and Sweet Tea. And thank you for helping my dreams come true.